And I'm going to kind of start at the beginning. So this is going to be, I hope that you're seeing, let me see exactly what you're seeing. Yeah, there you go. I hope that this is going to be a repeat for most of you, but we are going to start at the beginning for those of you who, especially for those of you who are new, okay? The bar here, okay. Give me just 1 second. I was, again, PowerPoint, you know, it's a killer every time. Okay, so the Synod of South Atlantic is made up of 16 presbyteries in the 3 states of South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Each presbytery has its own priorities, its own focus, its own ministry. But together, we're on a journey to becoming what God intends for this region as a whole. Oh, let's do this. That's not what I did. There we go. So throughout 2024, the Synod had a visioning task force working to listen, pray, and discover where the Synod might join in God's work across the region. That task force, as Holly mentioned, they quickly discovered that the traditional ideas of a vision and mission statement were not the best for where we find ourselves as a Synod. So our mission and vision became clearest when we all understood them to be part of our journey together. So that's where this statement comes from. It literally replaces our mission and previous mission and vision statements. That journey statement is on your screen. The Synod of South Atlantic embodies the grace and love of Jesus Christ, cultivates authentic community within and across presbyteries, and inspires impactful ministry, developing leaders so that the church becomes united in faith, hope, love, witness, and service. Throughout 2024, they also did the work of developing guiding values. Those those guiding values are on your screen. They are the ways in which the Synod seeks to operate in, for, and with our presbyteries and the world. We take these values seriously and will actively seek to have them guide our work together. They will be used in each of the committees throughout using the accompanying scriptures that you also see on your screen as ways of centering and reminding us of not only what we do as a Synod, but our commitment to how we do that work. With grace, love, authenticity, transparency, unity, hope, in faithfulness, and the reminder that we are reformed and always reforming. This is the basic design. If you're a visual person like I am, this was really necessary for me to see. So in November, this new Synod design was approved. Some of you were there. This design does not represent a simple shifting of former committee responsibilities. Some of those responsibilities have gone away. Some have stayed and been reshaped. While there are still some things that indeed must continue, like nominations and representation, finance and policy implementation, there are several new pieces to this structure. They represent opportunities for resourcing and supporting creative ministries like networks, ministry partners, leadership formation, and a newly revised grants and scholarships process. Now, like before, this has not changed. Every Synod commissioner serves on a committee. So we're going to go through each of the committees and their descriptions together. This is important because in the end, every commissioner will be asked to select and prioritize the committee on which they serve, on which they wish to serve. So you get to choose. It was a long conversation about how commissioners find themselves on committees, and ultimately we want people to serve where they feel called and gifted to serve. And so you get your choice, rather than saying, and I'll explain this maybe a little bit later, but rather than saying so many people, exact numbers have to serve on each committee, we've set minimums. So a minimum number of people have to serve on each committee. And chances are, if you add all those minimums together, it is way below the number of commissioners. So the hope is that everyone will get their first choice. So yeah, we're going to go through each of those committees and talk about their mission. So each of the committees are named after those three verbs: embody, cultivate, and inspire. So the Embody Committee, as you see, as they embody the grace and love of Jesus Christ, the embodiers on this committee help people find their place in the Synod, focusing on the practical and relational work of leadership, representation, and service in the Synod. If you see this, if you look at the logo, it was a lot of conversation around this logo too. Some people saw it as a ship. I see the way it was intended is a baptismal font, a bowl with water, right? If you look at the lightest color on the very bottom, this is my interpretation of embody. It holds everything else. It helps people to find their place, disperse in it, and embodying the grace and love of Jesus Christ is the basis of who we are, who we hope to be for each other and for our presbyteries. So that's sort of my own explanation for that. So the work that they are charged with doing is commissioner orientation. I may never have to do another one of these orientations once they take this over, or at least making sure that it happens. Helping commissioners find their place, helping them to find their place in the system, where they would like to serve. The work of nominations and representation. They'll also administer the Embody Leader Formation Cohort. And I'm going to talk more about that here in just a minute. They will also be charged with encouraging presbytery partnerships for leader development, ecumenical relationships, and maintaining required policies. Those are the Book of Order policies on a myriad of things that apply to the Synod. So the Embody Leader Formation is a cohort. This is a brand new thing. We're starting this year. It's already arranged for 2025, and we are taking participants now. People are already registering. So it's an annual cohort of 16 people, one from each presbytery. It's not the case this year, but in the future, the intent is that every new Synod commissioner will take part in this cohort. And those presbyteries who are not sending a new commissioner in that year will get to choose, will get to send someone who's not a Synod commissioner. This cohort is leadership formation education to encourage self-awareness and empathy, building capacity for deeper service, things like human systems, culture, transforming conflict, building agreement, emotional intelligence, all of those things. I'm excited about this because it's all, like I said, it's already set up for April. As the initial retreat, there'll be I think it's a two-night retreat at the Calvin Center just outside of Atlanta. And then after that, there are several Zoom meetings for the cohort that will be scheduled throughout the year. So that is the work of the Embody Committee. The Cultivate Committee is obviously called to cultivate authentic community, to build the kinds of relationships in our life together that allow health and wholeness to sprout up all across our synod. The cultivators will prepare, develop, and support space for authentic communities to prosper and grow within and across presbyteries. This is the committee that Pat is co-chairing this year alongside Billy Sutter. Their charge is the formation and growth of synod networks. This is another new thing, okay? Networks are defined as open, collaborative groups centered on a shared interest, purpose, mission, or ministry that builds relationships and connections across the synod. I think a good possible example, because we don't, currently we sort of grandfathered in the racial ethnic ministries into networks, but a possible new network might be racial justice, might be based on racial justice, because I know that, for instance, Savannah Presbytery and Central Florida Presbytery and several others have some active ministries working in those areas. They might choose to form a synod network. What that looks like and what those processes will be is going to be part of the work of the work of the Cultivate Committee, but hopefully be part of their work in the first year, setting that out so that moving forward processes are in place. The other thing that the Cultivate Committee is charged with is to work with synod ministry partners. We might know those now as covenant partners. So Jean and Bobby, especially, all of your service in years past on the Administrative Relationships Committee with covenants and renewal of covenants comes into play here, right? The idea is that covenant partners will transition into what we're calling a ministry partner, which is something that is the idea is that we come up with a sort of a template as much as possible for a covenant, renew those in a way, ministry partnership agreement in a way that they are not necessary to renew unless it's requested by either party, but then also help them to integrate and connect to other ministries in the synod. There may be places that they obviously would connect with a particular synod network or work of the Embody or Inspire committees. So those are the two primary charges of the Cultivate Committee. And hopefully you all have heard of the first Wednesday SAC lunches that we've been doing for the last year. These are first Wednesday during lunchtime Zoom meetings around a particular topic. This is something that the Cultivate Committee might choose to continue to make sure happens because it could be a means of developing networks for the future. So that's just an example of what that might look like. So the third committee is the Inspire Committee. This committee is, we're called to inspire impactful ministry, joining in what God is already doing and breathing new life into places that need a message of hope. The primary charge of the Inspire Committee deals with money and, right, the grants and scholarships program, which has been revised. as well as budget and stewardship efforts, which, at least to my knowledge, this synod has not had a purposeful stewardship effort. And so, and awareness and opportunities of the resources through the grants and scholarships, the communication of that is also part of the Inspire Committee. And so the new grants and scholarships, the revised program is currently available. I'll show you all of that about where you can find it. Is available now. It has new deadlines, much broader applications for the majority of those for the different categories. And one of the things that was in the Visioning Task Force presentation, their plan is that there will be, starting in 2026, a youth and young adult grant program. That has yet to be put together. That will be part of the work of the Inspire Committee. So what the Visioning Task Force has imagined would be the work in their first meetings of each of the committees is listed on your screen now. So you'll notice that they all start with building community. Building community. That is the most important piece of any of our work. Embodiers will begin to work on the leadership orientation, finalize plans for the Embodied Leader program, and begin to work on placement of policies and revisions and needed new policies. The cultivators, again, will need to begin talking about what it looks like, what the process is to begin developing Synod networks. The same is true for the Synod Ministry Partners Covenant, and then begin to communicate with the current covenant partners and see how we can work to transition them into Synod Ministry Partners. The Inspirers will finalize the new grants and scholarships program, identify financial resources available for Synod networks. So this is where they not overlap, but they help one another. And then consider stewardship efforts. Those are just the first meetings, kind of what we see them focusing on for the first year. Now, if you have a phone that you're not using for this meeting, I would encourage you to point it at this QR code and let it take you to the to a form that will have you, tell us which of those committees you would like to serve on. Now, I'm going to drop the link in the chat. I'll also email this out to you after this meeting, so that you can complete that to let us know where you feel, which committee you feel you would like to serve on. As I said, each committee has minimums. So, for instance, the Embody Committee has a minimum of 6 commissioners. Cultivators has a minimum of 10 commissioners, and the Inspirers has a minimum of 6. You don't need to be worried about that. But what I do want you to know necessarily is that each of these committees has the ability to invite advisory members, which is different, right? This is a way of you being able to tap into the knowledge, skills, and abilities of people who are not necessarily Synod commissioners, but who might be helpful in your work as a committee. The other thing that is new to this year is that, and this is going to explain that difference between a commissioner and an at-large commissioner, is that each presbytery elects 2 commissioners to the synod, right? Those are presbytery elected commissioners. In the new synod's manual of operations, the synod can elect as many as 1 person for each to serve as a co-chair of a committee. And in turn, that by virtue of that position, they then become an at-large commissioner. So, for instance, Pat Jones was elected to serve as a co-chair to the Cultivate Committee. And because of that position, she is an at-large commissioner to the Synod. So that means she has voice and vote at the Synod Assembly. The same is true for the two mid-council leaders, the two presbytery leaders that were elected to serve on the Synod's coordinating committee. Those are David Yandel and Holly Dillon. They, by virtue of that election, become two at-large commissioners and have voice and vote both at the assembly. Okay. Now, I would like for us to take a look at, I'm going to stop sharing there. Any questions so far? Awesome.
Valerie, I do have one question. Will you be sending that presentation out to us?
I can.
Thanks.
But even better than that, I can show you where to find all the information you need on the website.
Thank you.
So I am going to share that with you. If you've been on the Synod's website in the last year, you won't be surprised by some of this, but just in the last month or so, several things have been changed and kind of rearranged. So I wanted to take this opportunity to point that out to you. When you go to this page, don't forget to scroll down, because that's where a lot of the information is. The information about the Journey event, registering for the first Wednesday SAC lunch, more information about our guiding values, and how you subscribe to the e-newsletter. If you're not already on that, you can look forward to getting that probably this month, because I'm going to make sure you're on the list. Okay, so in addition to the things on this page, are y'all seeing this okay? And you can see my drop down? Super. Don't forget to take a look at the drop down under About, because there's a lot of information there. There is a calendar. This calendar will show you where all of the presbytery meetings are for all 16 presbyteries throughout the year. It will also show you when and where your committee is meeting. And as this is where you can find the Zoom link to your committee if you can't find it in your email. Okay. You will see the list of our covenant partners, the latest version of the newsletter, information on our presbyteries. Oh, and especially for new commissioners, this might be of interest to you. If you have trouble sleeping at night, you can click on the minutes books and you can read Synod's minutes for the last 3 years. Who knows? You might be interested. This is probably the most important portion of the website for you, is the commissioners page and the commissioners drop down. Okay. So that you know, this is the page when you click on the word commissioners, it just tells you basically what it means to be a Synod commissioner. At the bottom of that screen, there is a commissioners directory. This is password protected. Okay. But if you click on it and you type in Sosa_journey, and I'll give you that, you will find the pictures of all of your committee leadership. So these are your co-chairs for all of the committees. And just as something to remember for all of the commissioner pages, committee pages, always scroll all the way down to the bottom, because this is how you will access your committee agendas, and all of the information necessary for your meetings. On this page, this is the commissioner directory. So if you need to get a hold of another commissioner, or for instance, your committee co-chair, you can find their contact information on this page at the bottom through that Dropbox link. So we can go back to the Embody Committee. This is where you find, again, your basic charge and purpose as a committee. And again, scroll all the way to the bottom, and this is where you will find more information. I would like to also point out, while it's not true on this particular one, but this gray bar right here, sometimes people forget that you need to slide that down to be able to see all of the information, okay? But this is a flyer for the Embody, or a actual, there you go, lots of information about the Embody Leader Formation program, and the policies that committee will be taking a look at, and principles for the journey, are some basics that each of the committee co-chairs are going to be using to help lead your meetings based on the guiding values that we talked about earlier. So the same is true for the Cultivate Committee. Purpose and charges and more information relative to your Cultivate Committee. The same is true, whoops, having some trouble with my mouse, for the Inspire Committee, which is more information on grants and scholarships and the budget. The Coordinating Committee is made up of all of those faces you saw on the screen a minute ago, plus David Yandel and Holly Dillon. So all of the co-chairs of each of those committees, plus 2 mid-council leaders, will make up the Coordinating Committee. I want to be clear that the Synod's Coordinating Committee is just that. It is a coordinating committee. It is different from the previous Executive Administrative Commission in that the Coordinating Committee has 0 commission authority over the Synod. They do serve as personnel, but they are not a commission and do not have any commission authority. And if you do serve on the Coordinating Committee, the same is true here. You can scroll down and find more information about your work. There's no way of even changing this, even if we wanted to. The new design of the Synod does not change the need or the structure of the Synod's Permanent Judicial Commission. That continues to do its work separate and apart from this design as it was previously approved in November of 2023, 16 members, following the Book of Order in all things permanent judicial. Yeah, and then there's the directory page, which I told you. And I will add to the chat the password for the commissioner's directory page. That is capital SOSA _ journey. Thanks, David. So moving along the top of the menu bar of the website, there is now a new page for presbytery leaders. So presbytery execs and stated clerks, all of the information that you received in your email yesterday that said go to the presbytery leaders page on the website here, this is it. This is a different Dropbox from your other Dropbox, so don't worry about that. But this is just a place for me to put all of the information where you can easily go and grab it for you. So the information on the fees for the Journey event and further information on the Embodied Leader Formation, all of those things for Presbyterian leaders. There might be more in the future, but those are the things that we want on the website. So there is also a page for disaster assistance. You can get to FLAPDAN, the South Carolina PDAC here, and PDA. And you can also, there's a Dropbox on this page as well to get to their PowerPoints. And we did a webinar with them last year. And so on preparing and responding, and those videos are on the website as well. The events page, if there are things going on in a presbytery or in the synod, and for the synod as a ministry of itself, we'll put those things here where people can learn more or follow to register, that kind of thing. The grants and scholarships are on the grants and applications page. So I'm waiting for my computer. Again, this is new information. These were approved at the November 2024 Synod meeting. The policies can be downloaded here by going to this link right here. And this will tell you, and all the members, especially of the Inspire Committee, the objectives and directives for each of these grants and scholarship programs. Remember what I said in the beginning, don't forget to scroll down because there's quite a bit here. All of the applications as of this year are online only. Online only. So no more paper applications, scanning and sending and all of those things. And we'll go over more of that if you in the Inspire Committee for the future. But most of the deadlines are later in the year. You see, this memorial scholarship deadline is May 15th, but the I think that's the same for the theological scholarships. But the grants are all deadlined October 1st. We have new grant categories this year. Inspiring Ministry Grant, the Cultivating Community Grant. And yeah, so that's all exciting. I think those are wonderful. If you haven't already looked at this page, this is the Ministry Opportunities page. This is where the Synod helps to promote any ministry opportunity available within the Synod. So we do our best to keep up with this, but basically what we're doing is cross-referencing the CLC and adding it to this page with a map. So you can go here and click on Hope Presbyterian Church, and I think this is Central Florida Presbytery, I think, and get to that information. So again, scrolling down, there are all kinds of opportunities available here, and we try and add even things like administrative assistant, communications people, so it doesn't have to be for a minister of the Word and Sacrament. I encourage you to share this with folks who may be looking for a new ministry position. And then the last thing is, because I needed to create this for myself, there is a map of all of the camp and conference centers in the Synod. I think it's kind of cool and helpful to know. So, one thing I'll let you know is, well, a couple of things, is that below at the very bottom of the screen as the template for the whole web page is the mailing address of the Synod. The staff, such as it is, are remote. We work remotely. We no longer pay for an office at University Boulevard West, but we do continue to receive our mail there. So if you ever need to get a hold of me, please, in a timely fashion, don't mail it. So there is that. Right now, I'm going to go to the contact page.
Valerie,
Right.
there's a question in the chat
Oh, okay.
about finding church opportunities, and I guess is that supposed to be?
I couldn't figure out
Okay.
how you got there.
Sure. Ministry opportunities.
Oh, that doesn't, am I seeing that? Ministry opportunities. Mine cuts off at grants/AP and goes no further
Well, there
across.
should be something that says more. You may be looking at a smaller window. So if you can expand that window, it should show up.
Okay.
The other thing I would say is transitional ministers, interim pastors, transitional pastors are these days difficult to find. Am I right? And so there is this pastoral leadership recruitment form that if anyone is interested in coming to the area and serving as an interim or transitional minister, they can click on this and complete this form and let us know where they're looking at going, for instance, what presbytery they might be interested in. And that information will immediately be shared with the EP and or stated clerk of that presbytery. So it's one way of letting people know. Where was I? Oh yeah, the contact us page. So here you see Andy and I. You might notice that we're missing another picture. We previously had a shared staffing agreement with the Presbyterian of Tampa Bay, Holly, and Annelle Belmont was serving for both of us. Since the hurricanes and since some other reorganization stuff has happened in Tampa Bay, they have chosen to take over that agreement. So Annelle is now working full-time for the Presbytery of Tampa Bay, and the Synod is seeking a remote part-time administrator. So if anyone knows of anyone who is good at that kind of thing, please let me know. You can find the job description on the Synod's Facebook page. Any other questions? Okay, one other thing here. Whoops, that's not what I meant to share. Let's see if I can make this work. There. So again, the things that do not change are the permanent judicial functions, the way that the Synod resources presbytery search committees, presbytery leadership search committees, the way that we do our communications and the assistance and resourcing for presbyteries for visioning and planning, all of those things remain the same. And if you have not already, I encourage you to, as soon as possible, register for the Synod meeting and journey event. What I don't have for you is a visual about this event, but the Synod meeting itself will be about 3 hours long, but it overlaps with this journey event. Consider them as, since you're a Synod commissioner, I ask you to consider these as one event. The Synod meeting and journey event. This is a way for us to set out together in this new way of serving, in this new design. Each of the presbyteries has been or has committed to and is more than encouraged to send 2 of their presbytery council members. So if you have a council, if you have a coordinating team, whatever that team looks like in your individual presbytery that sort of approves all the things and works closely with the staff, we want 2 of those folks to come to the Journey event. They can learn about the Synod and engage in additional conversation that seeks to spark creativity and creative thought around what alignment looks like, whether that is aligning with our guiding values, aligning with one another in our missions and ministries, aligning staff, for instance, shared staffing agreements, historically, what any of those things might look like. We have a lot of, I think, exciting folks coming from the National Church. Reverend Tony Larson, co-moderator of the 226th General Assembly, is going to deliver a keynote and preach. And he's also going to install our moderator. Stated clerk of the General Assembly, Reverend Jihan O, is going to deliver a keynote and preach. We have Mary Westfall from Coastlands Presbytery is going to come and speak. Darius Boltana is going to come and speak from Tropical Florida Presbytery. And David, someone here might know his last name. I can't remember it. From Presbyterian Historical Society is going to come and speak about context and historical promises. So I think it's going to be a really good event, and I'm excited about it. So it is a Synod meeting. So as a Synod commissioner, you should come. So I'll help you register for that really soon. One of the, that made me remember something and then I forgot. The registration is on the front of the website. I'm sorry, I've had a brain hiccup. Any of you ever have those? There was something else I wanted to tell you about. Now I can't remember it, so sorry. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody want to tell me what committee you want to serve on?
When I looked at the commissioner directory, it showed that some of us have already been assigned, which was fine with me. It was the committee I wanted anyway.
You were assigned?
I'm listed under the Cultivate Committee.
Oh,
when I go to the commissioner directory.
I mean, if that's where you want to serve, great. But that wasn't. I may have put a wrong version of that in there. I'll go back and look at it, Jean.
Okay, or it may have just been defaulted to those of us who were on a particular committee that's folded in this new one. Anyway, I answered the jot form. So
okay, great, thank you. Lois, did you have something?
Yes, I was previously on the financial, so that's what, the Embody now?
No, that's Inspire.
Inspire, I'm sorry.
Okay, so you're interested in stewardship and finance and the grants and scholarships piece.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Valerie, I'd be interested in the Cultivate.
Super. Anybody else?
Valerie, I'd already filled out the form for the Cultivate Committee as well.
Oh, super. Thanks, Bobby. Yeah, I'll go back and take a look at the form. Awesome. So how is everyone feeling? Are you feeling ready? Excited?
Inspired.
Inspired. Inspired. Yes. Yay.
I don't feel cultivated.
You're going to be fine, Bobby. They're going to be fun.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited. It feels like a new day. There is just so much possibility, and I'm so grateful for the work of the Visioning Task Force. And that was an incredible, incredible group of people with incredible synergy. And it's my hope and prayer that that's the way that, not only the way that we enter into this work in 2025, but we're able to expand on that. So yeah, I believe in this ministry. I believe in the Synod of South Atlantic, and we're going to do great things. I'm excited.
I have to
Paula,
say,
do you have a question? Okay, sorry, Holly, go ahead.
no, oh, I was going to say, as a member of that truly amazing group, it feels a little bit like putting flesh on bones. I mean, just to hear you all say, I want to be on the Cultivate committee and I want to inspire. I mean, it's an odd sensation. I can't really describe it, but it's like, oh my gosh, it actually lives. It's going to be very cool.
Yeah.
And every synod is going to want to be like us.
And I think, we, much like, what we prayed in the beginning, I think it's going to take us a while to learn a new thing. And that's not just about the structure, because to be honest, I am not convinced that most commissioners understood the structure to begin with, beyond the one committee that they were serving in. I think it's going to take us a while to learn a new way of being, to learn how to be true, authentic community with one another. And that's what I'm most excited about. So yeah. Anything else? Well, super. It's just about 1 o'clock. That's perfect timing. Can I, call Holly Dillon out to pray us out? Would you mind?
Not at all. Not at all. Let us pray. Creating living God, we give you thanks for the new thing that has come forth in the Synod of South Atlantic. We give you thanks for bringing Valerie's leadership to us. We give you thanks for the vision which your Holy Spirit has provided to us. We give you thanks for these commissioners and all those who have answered the call to serve, to launch out on an unknown but exciting journey. And so we pray, oh Lord, even now for this journey event that awaits us, for those who will come to speak to us, those who will gather, those who will learn and connect and develop the strength of and the power of what it means to be community united in you. We pray for ourselves this day that we might be faithful in each and every little thing to which you call us this day. Thank you for this gathering across spaces and distances and the way that we are already connected because we are on this journey as disciples of Jesus Christ. It is in your name that we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much, everyone. I remembered 2 things. One, I work for you. If you have questions, don't understand, or need information relative to how you can live out your call to serve as a Synod commissioner, contact me. That's my job. I work for you. Okay. The other thing is about the journey event. I'm so excited to say that we are going to do basically what is a first Wednesday sack lunch live and in person. So your butt won't be in a chair the entire time. We're going to be moving around, moving and grooving and doing some stuff. Okay. So come ready to have fun and learn together. Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.